reading the assignment.
I was doing
minutes before class.
Yep. Just like I used to.
Did you forget your Scantron too?
No, I didn't. I usually
your
didn't
blue
do that.
book.
Make sure you
I
fill
think
it.
I took one test on a blue book
Really?
my entire college career.
I feel like all of my tests were on blue books.
Those are the ones you have to actually write in.
What's going on, everyone? This is the Aggie Game Day Extra Podcast. I'm KBTX Senior Texas A&M sports writer. I forgot my title. I was actually thinking about.
You were staring at yourself in the microphone and you thought, "Oh boy."
Yeah,
There it
I
goes.
was thinking about putting my little graphic down here, and then I forgot what I was talking about. So that's me.
Yes.
I'm Travis Brown. I am the senior Texas A&M sports writer. Over here, Max Crawford, back from some travels.
Yes.
Chief meteorologist over here.
Yes.
Over here,
Jealous.
Tyler Shaw,
Said travels.
sports director here
Yeah.
at KBTX. Well, Max, where did you actually watch the game this weekend?
It was at, oh my gosh, what is the name of the restaurant? It was the biggest restaurant in Lake City, Colorado, and it's named after a dude who was accused of cannibalism. I don't know that he was ever caught, but I mean, this is like South Central Colorado, maybe like Southwestern Colorado. What the heck was that dude's name? It was like something apostrophe S, like Chappers or something like that. And they had phenomenal fried mushrooms.
Well,
a
I'm
couple
glad
of
you
local
ate
brews on tap.
things that are vegetables at the
Yeah.
place named after the cannibal.
Right, yeah, because you don't know. You don't know.
Yes.
Sweeney Todd's.
Inside, inside the bar, they had the game on. Outside, they did not have any TVs, which I respect. I'm not knocking that, especially because in Colorado, there's a whole other hazard with just how the weather is and stuff. So we did some tablet watching for the first half, and in that state that I was in, it was probably fine. So then we went back to our little condo and watched the rest of the game.
Gotcha.
But it was a great time. Beautiful little spot nestled in the mountains of Colorado.
The A&M game was featured on Bad Beats.
Yes, it
And
was.
you were one of those.
I was. And
But okay, we get a text, and
Okay.
he's like all disgruntled about how that
Like,
last
what? What's the
touchdown
problem?
and we're like, well, how much did you lose? I believe it was $2.
I think I put $2 on
Okay,
the game.
good. Yeah, I'm
So
glad.
A loss is a loss, though.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think I would have won. I don't know. Like the odds for us to cover were pretty decent. I think I would have won like $4 or something. Maybe I would have won 2. I don't remember. Anyway, in Colorado, you can sports gamble, and it's a good thing that you can in Texas. This is not a political statement by any stretch, but it's good for me that I can't do that in the state of Texas, because I was like putting $1, $2, $3, and there would be occasionally something I'd be so sure of that I would put $10 on.
Did you do like a 7-game parlay?
I did, and all of them hit except for the 7th leg, which I had Colorado money line, because I had Georgia Tech covering in a separate bet, and I was so sure that they would, and I was right. So I won back all that I would have won on the parlay.
No.
Anyway, so we were watching the game, and I think there was a minute left on the clock. It was after the 2-minute warning, but they were kind of driving, and I think they converted on a 4th down, or maybe the long bomb was a 4th down pass. I don't remember exactly what it was, but a couple of plays before, I was like, okay, this is over. The clock's going to run out and stuff like that. I didn't notice that Traylor had called a timeout. He did, and I think the very next play was that long bomb. And I had been bragging so much about how I had us covering, and I'm pretty sure that the final score without that touchdown might have been either yours, Tyler, or my prediction, score for score. No, because you had UTSA in the 20s.
Yeah,
and
you had
Tyler
them
and
at
I
like
both had
28.
them in the teens.
Oh,
So maybe the
Yeah.
final score
Yeah.
was closer to what you had. I think you had
picked,
us in the
picked
30s.
UTSA's final score.
But you didn't pick A&M's because you didn't have us in the 40s.
EJ Smith touchdown. If it hadn't scored that in UTSA scores, I would have hit it right.
Okay,
on.
so I mean we're sitting
Yeah.
in the same boat.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Both of them kind of inflated
yeah.
our picks.
Yes.
Yeah,
on both
exactly.
sides.
And so I'm sitting there like, man, that is just horrible. And then you showed the SVP clip where SVP had UTSA covering, so he was a lot more excited. He was just as excitable and enthusiastic about the call as I was, but he was happy and I was angry.
Yes, you were about
So.
that lost $2.
But yeah, many other people must have bet on that or at least understood what was happening, because all I did, no additional context after that touchdown, was tweet, "I'm never sports betting again," and it got like 25 likes. So people had to know what was happening
Sports
there.
betting is just, if you can avoid it instead. I mean, I get how addicting that can be. And it's a good thing I didn't put any money down this week, because I did, with no money on the line, just in the Eagles prog picks. I'm pretty sure I'm dead to last, second to last, or
the words
I did really bad.
The words that I used, I guess, right before it happened was, "It's over, we won." And so then that happened. And so the rest of the weekend, just any chance there was to bring that quote back up, "It's over, we won," my friends took the opportunity.
There's just so many people in this world that enjoy finding whatever little bit of misery that they can just pull back into your life and poke it with a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other, everybody was, maybe not everybody. I feel like everybody was a winner in Kyle Field on Saturday by seeing the new LED light shows. Tyler, you were around. I was around. What did you think?
I loved it. And I was ready, because we knew, I mean, the LED lights were a thing from the start. We kind of saw a little bit in the intro and their introductions, even though at that point the sun hadn't set, so you don't really get the full effect. I knew that the turn from the third quarter to the fourth quarter, that was going to be it. And that's when kind of the big show happened. So I'm sitting there, getting my wide angle of my camera down on the field, pointed right at the lights. I'm just waiting for it and ready. And I was pleased with kind of how it all worked out. It was not too far towards the way South Carolina does their light shows, where it just seems like a rave the entire night, and you're wondering, when are we going to be able to actually see again? I thought it was just the right amount of kind of a little fun show, without overdoing it, and I thought it was great. It's disappointing that we might only get this once more this season.
Right.
Yeah, this is the only thing the only time they went them off on there was always some level of white light. We didn't get that light. It was crazy.
Right, it only happened once. Yeah.
This was the run out. The first clip was the fourth quarter. The second. Before they had when they're yelled, they created
See,
going with yell.
that is cool. See, that's how you make it work. Is you actually make it your own, I guess, is the way that I was trying to express myself there. But yeah, I think in a couple of the November games, depending on the flex situation with the timing, we might be able to do it again. Obviously, we'll be able to do it for Mississippi State, and I'd have to look at the home schedule and the predetermined times and stuff too. But I don't know.
So
it'll come in handy eventually.
Overall, sure. I saw there were some
next
people
year hosting Texas. Obviously, that's going to be a great.
Surely.
I saw there were some people on the Twitters, on the online forums that were saying makes Kyle Field just like every other stadium out there. I think that's dumb. I think it looks really cool.
I agree with you with the general Old Army takes, which I have a couple of Old Army takes, but most of that has to do with people being on their phones and much less to do with the stadium experience in general.
But also, if other stadiums are doing something that's cool, is that a bad thing?
No.
Incorporate
no.
that?
And I think if nothing else, I think this brings your attention back to what's happening on the field. So, yeah, I say I'm all for it.
Yep, it was good.
If you want to be different, you can make bad upgrades to make you different. But
right.
I don't think this is a bad thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, and the music, last year there was a lot made of the Mo Bamba back to backs, how that usually did. The one time they did play Mo Bamba, that was a converted third down. It was a big play. It did not work. So we'll see if that gets brought back this year.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be brought back. I think it'll be used sparingly and in the right context and situation. Right
there, you go. Well, let's get right into the headlines from this week. Let's start with Dalton Brooks. He is set to return for Utah State. Asked Mike Elko. He was in, as you can see here, he was in street clothes or no pads on the sidelines for the UTSA game. No confirmation of why he was out, but he will be available, and that's a good thing for the defensive secondary.
Yeah. The secondary, I thought, showed improvement from what we saw last year. So the secondary played really well, I thought, the season opener. And this is only going to enhance that. I think Dalton Brooks is an asset for that secondary. He's got the speed and kind of that, run to the ball kind of mentality. So I think it's only going to help him having him out there healthy, and it'll be interesting to see how he kind of rotates in there with Will Lee and Tyreek Chappelle and Des Ricks.
Yeah. Max, what was your look at the secondary from what you saw watching on the tablet?
I would say, honestly, the biggest part of that, and watching the no huddle afterwards, was that I didn't have a ton to say about them, which I think is a good thing, right? I believe it was Des Ricks. It could have been Will Lee. I saw something. They were targeted towards like 7 times, and I think there was 1 or no catches, like something like that. And so I think when you have a quiet afternoon like that, I think that's typically a good thing. Saw Marcus Ratcliffe all over the field, and call him secondary or nickelback or whatever. But
I believe he had the second most snaps of any player besides Torian York.
I was going to guess York had
defense.
The most snaps, but yeah, they were both flying to the ball,
which is surprising because if you're going to take the depth chart at face value, Bryce Anderson is the one without the or.
Yeah.
It's Marcus Ratcliffe or Dalton Brooks, and Marcus Ratcliffe is the one who played.
Yeah,
most of the game.
And so I think just from that perspective alone, if you've got a Marcus Ratcliffe who can prove to fly to the ball, and you keep him fresh with Dalton Brooks in the rotation, Dalton Brooks is supposed to be a guy who's got some fire to him. I love that. So I'm very glad that he'll be back and get some game time reps before Notre Dame for sure.
For the longest time, A&M struggled to just make sure they had 5 good offensive line on the field, save for like that 2020 season. Now they have some depth, and head coach Mike Elko spoke a little bit this week on being able to rotate as many as 6 or 7 guys in there. Here's what head coach Mike Elko had to say about those offensive line rotations.
I think we're at our best when we have rotation and depth. I think that allows us the ability to be fresh, play our hardest, rotate guys, keep guys engaged. Inevitably, injuries will set in and stop our ability to do that to the level we want. We're certainly not just going to put kids out there for the sake of putting kids out there, but we think we have a lot of depth in that group, and we think we have kids that are capable of playing at a championship level. And as long as we have those guys, and we have 6, 7, 8 guys that we feel like can do that, I think it's in our best interest to continue to play as many as we can, that the level doesn't drop. And that's the biggest thing, is the level can't drop. And so we think we have that right now.
So Trey Zune, naturally, is going to get the majority of the snaps. He had 59. He played 58 of A&M's total 59 offensive snaps. He split time between center and left guard there. Demetrius Crownover was number 2. Then Mark Nabou, Amarj Reed-Adams, Chase Besantis, Koli Faiu mixed in there a little bit. Robert Borden got a little bit of time in there. So you're looking at 7 guys who got significant rotation time in on that offensive line, which is just, again, I mean, I always go back to and I know you're going to, prepare you, trigger warning, the 2017 season when you start in that game in the Rose Bowl against UCLA, and they were just doing full line changes because they couldn't necessarily even figure out who the best 5 were. That it seems they've gotten into a healthy spot in that regard.
I mean, it's almost the complete opposite, right? Or rather that you're rotating it for the complete opposite reason. Not that you're so unsure about how things are going to go with the O-line, but that you have confidence if you move somebody around, they're still going to know their assignments. They're still going to have the proper footwork. They're still going to be able to snap the ball and take their steps as they do it. And so I think, to me, that's why it's a little bit shocking in a good way, because I think the tried and true method of offensive linemen, more than any other position on the field besides like quarterback, is you don't want any rotation. You don't want anything that is not just flat out 100% consistency on the line. You want the same 5 guys from left to right to be on every single snap if you can. But if you can rotate with confidence and there's no drop off, and you can get a couple of guys a breather, especially if you're trying to do a couple of longer drives and things like that, I mean, I think that's amazing. I think that speaks to the confidence that the coaching staff has in not only the starting 5, but a couple of dudes that they want to keep in on rotation, and maybe they even bring them in for certain packages, because we know Colin Klein loves his design runs and pulling packages and stuff like that. So I'd be curious to see, even if for specific plays and packages, they have a little bit of a different line setup. Like, do you want Zune to pull more, and so you can push him over to guard and run to the left with him? I don't know. But to me, it's fascinating. Like, I think we could do an entire pod just on the offensive lineman. Nobody would listen to it, but I think that we could, just with the little glimpses that we've seen so far. It's pretty cool.
I think, according to Pro Football Focus, I believe it was only 9 pressures on Marcel Reed. The pass blocking, really, really good. The run game, a little interesting. How would you kind of rate how they did and with this rotation?
Yeah, well, with the rotation, I think is fine. What they're going to have to get used to with the run game is, again, we talked about this, how Le'Veon Moss wasn't in for a complete game and probably is kind of getting eased into his rotation. So when they kind of figure out more their rotation at running back and really getting the run game going earlier, they didn't really need the run game to get going in a game like this. But I think that will work itself out. With the rotations, we're talking about this. It's a long season, and I think this is great that we're seeing this in week 1. If you're the Aggies, because obviously you don't want to see any injuries, but barring anything happening, you've got guys you can kind of plug in there. I mean, Ruben Fothery's not even in this mix yet. He's still a few weeks away from getting back. That just adds another depth piece to your offensive line. And if you want to make a legit run and be a playoff team and be playing late into the season, you're going to need as many healthy bodies as you can on the O-line. And it seems like they've got confidence in all these guys. Marcel had great protection all game. I think we'll see the run game develop as the season goes, and as they'll need them to.
Beyond the run game, what really kind of sparked the offense, or beyond, the pass game, what really sparked the offense was special teams, especially the punt return by KC Concepcion. Mike Elko said early he wanted to see the punt return game be explosive. He got return on investment absolutely right away. How excited were you? Were you dancing on tables, Max, when you saw him, KC, slip through those first 2 defenders and turn the corner?
Well, I was trying to compose myself because we were in public, but I was very excited. And I will also say, like, once I saw him kind of turn the corner, I was like, okay, he's gone. And that next level speed is something that I just feel like we have been so sorely missing for a while, really since Devon Achane left. Anias could score a touchdown like this too, but I don't know that Anias would have been able to keep the pedal to the metal quite as long as KC did just in that clip.
KC did say he was tired.
Yeah,
when he planted the foot, he said he was tired.
And he kind of alluded to maybe the crowd kind of powering him through it. Because he said that was when he realized, like, oh, this place is loud, as he was kind of making that breakaway. So maybe the crowd fired him up a little bit and allowed him to keep going. But
helps when you. So sorry,
no, it's okay.
I was just saying it helps when you got a guy like EJ Smith back there.
Yeah, exactly,
and
that's
paving the way.
That's exactly what I was going to say too. Is he mentioned how Trooper Taylor helps them with the special teams blocking assignments and things like that. I mean, between him and Cushing. And I think even Wiggins on the wide receiver staff, it seems like there is such an emphasis on blocking from special teams to every part of the offensive line. And I think as much as that breakaway speed on these breakout plays, you see blocking downfield from Theo. You would see it from Craver, or you'd see it from KC or Bussy whenever Craver or KC were like breaking a run. And so I think just as much as having that next level speed, it's the downfield blocking that is going to pay dividends this year. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I could tell you whether or not I saw that sort of effort from our players last year, but I can say that I'm definitely seeing it this year. And I'm seeing it against a G5 team, and so that fires me up for sure.
You talked about EJ Smith. That's what Mike Elko said. The turnaround you get from not having a punt return since 2023, that was Anaya Smith. The last time they had one in Kyle Field was 2021, also Anaya Smith. So it's been a while. But the way you have that quick turnaround is having your best athletes buy in and decide that special teams is something that's important to them. We started our new segment this week with Daryl Dickey, former Texas A&M offense coordinator that you talked to, Tyler. And we asked him about this, or you asked him about this kickoff return, and EJ Smith is pretty much all he talked about.
Yeah. I mean, that was, he said the fan's going to see the cuts and the speed from Concepcion, but the biggest takeaway from that was, the buy-in, really from a running back that's trying to be in that rotation and be kind of one of those top guys on offense. Diving there at the end, using his body legally for that last block to get the extra yard, that's what's going to separate a good team from a great team, kind of having those kind of plays and that kind of effort. And really the blocking on special teams and just the offense was encouraging.
They used to say that, special teams, especially if you're like a freshman or sophomore, and this is college and even high school, and you're getting JV or varsity reps, is like special teams is where you kind of show coach, hey, I not only do I know how to do this, but I'm going to give you like balls to the wall effort. And I actually kind of think that in this NIL era, that's an opportunity for the younger players, maybe not to build film to transfer, but to like set themselves apart from the other freshmen who are just kind of riding the bench. You make a play on special teams and people are going to notice you. So I think that means that we could be in for some more electricity on special teams in general. I could be wrong.
And EJ Smith was rewarded by getting that little option pitch touchdown there at the end of the game that ruined my score prediction. So thanks, EJ.
First touchdown.
I didn't realize that until that. It surprised me that was his first. Yeah.
He's had some other moments. He carried. He kind of got the first down that sealed the Florida game, which was kind of special, with his dad being there, being a Gator and everything like that. But in there and
as it, I believe, was Amari Nyblock's solo reception there, but still a good one.
Great
and
play.
A little glimpse.
Their part. So let's go back to the headlines here. The special teams provided a part, and then we'll shift over to soccer. Kaylee Noble gets a hat trick in a 7-1 Aggie soccer win. I was here a couple weeks ago saying, "Hey, Aggie soccer needs to find an attack," and
they did.
They found an attack. And then the other really impressive thing: women's golf wins the Carmel Cup, which is like the biggest tournament outside of the NCAA tournament over there at Pebble Beach. They won it by 26 strokes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That might be the most insane thing that's happened sports-wise at the collegiate level over the past week or more. That is crazy.
What's also crazy about that is, ever since Chadwell came over, he's had good teams. They've made it to the semifinals and all the way to the national championship run there in stroke play at the end of the year a couple times. This is like almost a completely new team. So he's lost some of his top players, but he brings in these new players and these new recruits, and there's some turnover, but yeah, I mean he's built a program there.
That is absolutely insane.
Again, it's early in the season, and he'll tell you that.
Sure.
They're a long way away from May, but to go into Pebble Beach and do that, that's insane.
Pebble Beach
deserves a shout out.
Pebble Beach, big time course,
right?
And not an easy one.
Over 40 years ago, my parents started C&J Barbecue, and today we continue to honor Dad's legacy with the best barbecue in the Brazos Valley. With locations on Harvey Road, Southwest Parkway, and our newest location on William J. Bryan, we carry on our family tradition of serving up award-winning barbecue, sides, and desserts. We also offer delivery, catering, as well as custom menus and private chef services. Come visit us today for some of the best barbecue around. C&J Barbecue. The C is for Chip, the J is for Joe, and the barbecue is for you.
Well, let's get into the important thing for this week. That is the matchup Texas A&M, Utah State. I don't know why there it is.
Yeah, there they
They're
are.
loaded.
Aggies.
Aggies versus the Aggies.
On Aggie violence.
We have an interesting one here because it's 11:45 kickoff. That's kind of a weird one. Usually it's the 11. You get that extra 45 minutes to scarf your last kolache and get into the stadium. But the big thing about this, Bronco Mendenhall. You're kind of aware of his best hits, Tyler, because of your history. Tell us a little bit about Bronco Mendenhall.
Look, he's a great coach, and people from the outside saying how kind of surprised they were when he left BYU to go to Virginia in the first place. A lot of it was kind of to his fault. He set a standard there. I mean, they would consistently win 9 games there in Provo. I guess that was the problem, is you kept seeing those 9-win seasons, and then he could tell fans were getting to that point, like, okay,
kind of like a Bo Pelini situation.
Yeah, when do we get 11? When are we? And this was before the college football playoff, so I mean, you basically had to have a perfect season to get a chance to play for a national championship.
And you weren't probably even going to get to play for a national championship in the BCS era from Boise. You're really playing for a BCS bowl game,
right? Right, you're playing for a BCS bowl game. Well, and then so that was the Mountain West days. But then when they moved to independence, they had the opponents on there that if they went undefeated, they played enough good Power 5 teams, they would have been in. But yeah, they just never made it over that hump. Even though that probably should have never been the expectations to begin with. But Bronco Mendenhall exceeded those expectations, kind of set that standard. His offenses can be fun. Now this, I will say, I think Utah State is a much easier opponent than UTSA was. I just don't think they're that good of a team. I don't want to say it's a Bill Belichick situation, but it's kind of close to where you have the name, you have the coach, Bronco Mendenhall, Bill Belichick, UNC, but he's not the one playing. It's the players on the field, and he's got a brand new team at Utah State that and also a team that just frankly was not good last year. So there's a lot of unknowns with them, which, I guess, scouting wise is probably a headache for A&M's coaches. They don't exactly know what their defense looks like. But I just don't think they have the personnel that even UTSA had.
And Elko said in his presser that he thinks the 2 best skill players on the team are the 2 running backs that they have. One, I believe, is a New Mexico transfer, and maybe a BYU.
One's BYU.
Yeah.
And Bronco Mendenhall had some great running backs in his time at BYU. So, I mean, sure, maybe they have.
Right, and honestly, if there is a game like this where it's an assumption that it's going to be a W, which I don't think is a crazy assumption, right?
25 point spread,
something similar to what we saw with UTSA. But I love the fact that we're trotting out 2 good running backs, right? It's another chance to polish up. Now, obviously, these people are not Love and Price that we're going to face at Notre Dame, but it's better than more scout team competition, right? And so it's more live reps against some talented running backs.
Miles Davis being one of them. He's the one who did transfer in from BYU.
Yeah.
What's your scout on Miles? He of course 12 carries, 88 yards, 1 touchdown last week in their win over UTEP.
Yeah, I mean he's twitchy and he's capable. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think the offensive line is going to really pave too much of holes for him, but he's one of those guys that can make you miss, and he'll have his moments. He might, especially in true A&M's defense fashion, like we saw last week, we might see a break for 50 yards or so. But other than that, I think A&M's going to have kind of a easy enough time keeping them at bay. But he is the guy to watch.
Yeah.
But that's probably makes it easier because A&M had a lot to deal with on offense with UTSA. They had that quarterback and they had, McCowan, and they had a lot of weapons on the outside. They're probably going to be able to stack the box a little bit more with Utah State to kind of slow them down.
Maybe that's the game plan for Notre Dame too. I honestly don't really know. I need to go back and fully watch all of Notre Dame and Miami instead of just the highlights. But it was a pretty low scoring affair. And so maybe you do get a little bit of, hey, we're going to stack the box and kind of run a similar plan to what we would do against Notre Dame. I don't know. Defensive coordination is not my strong suit.
Well,
So
the Notre Dame one too, and we're going to get into that probably a lot more next week. That was a confusing one because they do have maybe the best running back in the country. They didn't really use him against Miami. They tried more quarterback powers with their new guy, CJ Carr, than they necessarily did really getting Love the touches to get into the game. And, of course, you're going to stack the box and try to make the guy beat you with his arm. But, man, I was a little surprised about some of that play calling, about how much they went away from Jeremiah Love. In this game, Bryson Barnes, the quarterback, he can run too. He had 15 carries for 29 yards and a touchdown. Not necessarily the best average, but he is a guy that can run a little bit. And honestly, if looking back at the UTSA game, the run defense was maybe the thing that confused me the most about the A&M performance.
why did it confuse you?
I thought the potentially coming in with more experienced guys, the linebackers being guys that have been around for a while. Even the guys who are on the defensive line, say for Tyler O'Neam, how do I say that? Would have a little bit, those misfit plays would be something a little bit of the past, but I was just not impressed with the run defense that much until the very end of the game.
I don't know that really many people were, and I think that was one of the things that Elko mentioned right at the start of his presser before any questions were even asked. But to me, it's about what I was expecting, but a little bit almost encouraging in that. I don't think it's necessarily a skill issue. I know it's not a physicality issue. A couple of those big runs were, I think, because of misfits, and I think because there's a little bit of piecemeal on the line specifically. I think and hope that you continue to work that out. Because it wasn't a case of us getting what we would call out physicaled.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas we talked about this the other week. What was it? The Sam Houston game that whichever year that was the start. I think that was 2022.
2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Sam Houston O-line was kind of pushing us around a little bit. That's not what happened last Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing just fine from that regard. But I mean, give credit to Robert Henry Jr. He's a really good running back who found some right holes and was able to take advantage of a couple of, I think, mental lapses. And so I'm hopeful that we continue to see that improve as we go throughout the season.
Do you think this is easily fixable, Tyler?
Yeah, I do think it's because, again, I don't think it was a talent issue, or it was just, it was kind of, they did a good job of finding the holes. And again, that is concerning, the fact that there are those holes.
Right.
But it was fixed in the second half. Well, better yet, fixed after that first play of the second half.
And maybe, you know what? I just like first games like that, looking back in the moment, it was very frustrating because I think we were at one point in the third quarter only up by 3 or 4. And so obviously that's very frustrating, but you need a first game that shows not only the coaches, but I think the players like, hey, we got a long way to go, guys. This is a long season. There's lots of things to improve upon. Obviously, there's plenty of things we can capitalize on. But to me, this was kind of a perfect first game. I would not have, if I could do it all over again for my bad beats situation, I would have liked to have not seen that long pass for a touchdown, but even more so would have liked to have not seen that 75-yard run. You remove those two plays, though, and I mean, this was an absolute stress-free blowout.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I could see it kind of going similar. There might be a play or two that, Miles Davis might break for a big touchdown or something, but I think especially, that's kind of Elko's MO is those second half adjustments.
Right.
So I could see it being a shutout in the second half against Utah State.
Yeah, it is curious. I think I'm just really intrigued by the Bronco Mendenhall stat line with the fact that, I mean, he was only at New Mexico for a year.
Right.
Comes and just kind of poaches the entire team. A lot of the team down there, a lot of the coaching staff coming up from New Mexico as well.
He just kind of hung him out to dry there.
A little bit. A lot of success, like you said, at BYU. I am kind of curious if this is going to be a good move by them, or just kind of trying to retread? Is it what's his name over at UNLV right now? If it's the Bill Belichick, or if it's who is at UNLV? Why would I just forget?
I see his face.
The old Florida coach.
All I could think of is cousin Eddie. His cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation.
Dan Mullen.
Dan Mullen. There you go.
Dan
Mr.
Mullen
Nike shoes
over there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious to see what this experiment is like.
Yeah,
for them.
I could see it eventually being a good thing, but it's the first year, and you put it up there, 41 new players. I mean, it's just too much turnover and too little time. I mean, Sam Houston, a team close to us, is going through the same thing right now, and they look rough right now. And I think this is going to kind of be similar to Utah State. They'll have their moments this year.
That's a good comp because Utah State is a team that wins football games historically. I think I read it was they've 11 of the last 12 years they've gone to a bowl game. Sam Houston has had a history of winning, but a lot of turnover. You gotta, and I don't know, maybe in the new era of the transfer portal and NIL and rev sharing, can these teams that have historically been good at the mid-major level, can you maintain that level of success?
Yeah, they do have talent. No, you talked about, their quarterback is coming from Utah. You have Miles Davis coming from BYU, so they've got some decent transfers in there. I just question, the entire team of, how it all fits. But yeah, they do have talent at least coming out of the portal.
I like the comps with Sam, and I think both of these are hires that the powers that be made, saying in this era of uncertainty, we want not necessarily a household name. Well, in Utah, certainly a household name, but we want some assurance of longevity. So this was not necessarily a win now hire, although I feel like he probably could. I think this is the hire for the future that they made, assuming that this guy is probably going to try to retire there, right? Mm-hmm. And so in an inconsistent world where you've got portal players all over the place, like, you can sell a kid in Utah on like, hey, this dude is here and he's going to be here and he is going to put you in the right position to succeed. Might not be this year, but I think that was the idea they had behind the hiring. Is maybe you do something weird in non-conference and steal a game or two, but I think at least for the first season or two, I mean, you're just trying to get back into conference play and win those games.
Before we get to our thoughts and predictions on this game, the one other thing this week, A&M remains at 19 in the AP poll. Yeah. What do we think about remaining at 19 after a win against a non-cover win against UTSA?
It's about where they should be. They didn't do enough they need to jump in the polls. I mean, you did what you're supposed to. You beat UTSA, and actually, you didn't cover. But yeah, I no gripes with it. I'm fine with staying there.
I don't specifically either. I don't know. I look at Kansas State having lost, and then I look at Florida State jumping from unranked to in the teens and things like that, and I go kind of, But other than that, we are where we're going to be, and we may, I would say, go up to 17 next week, assuming something odd happens ahead of us. But I mean, I really think that the pollers are waiting, like, okay, let's see what they do against Notre Dame. And Notre Dame kept their top 10 ranking, I believe, as well. So,
which works out good for A&M.
Yeah. So I think this is a situation where if all of a sudden you're 3-0 2 weeks from now, then you start messing with not only top 15, but you maybe start getting close to a top 10 ranking, and then you just kind of go from there. So, everything is still out in front of them. Yeah, you wouldn't expect much movement from... I think even if we blew them out, I don't know that we would have moved up much. But
I don't think so either. And I mean, UTSA is a good team. I think they're going to have a pretty good record.
Yeah, and I mean, since
year.
Boise got just absolutely demolished, you start opening up a world of possibilities for these G5 teams. And if you're UTSA, the way they finished last season, the way they performed against A&M, could they be one of the dark horse playoff contenders? I think it's absolutely a possibility in the American Conference. I mean, you got Memphis and you got Tulane, so you're going to get your games to prove your worth. So I think they could end up being a ranked team at the end of the season.
Tulane and South Florida, who goes to Florida this week, it might be your big. I don't think A&M, even with a commanding win over Utah State this week, is going to move up all that much because of there's just not a great slate.
What even? Week. Yeah, I was going to say, what even is the big matchup this week? Is it USF at Florida? Is that one of the biggest ones? Because I feel like historically you've got 1 or 2 week 0 games worth watching, and then you've got a handful of week 1 games, and then all of a sudden everybody in week 2 is kind of back to business as usual and playing their usual.
I mean,
You got Iowa State,
Ooh,
Cy-
you've got the game.
Cyhawk.
Baylor, SMU.
That might be kind of good. Yeah, we're just kind of scrolling through. Oklahoma State and Oregon, not so much because Oklahoma State looks to have lost their starting QB.
Michigan,
so-
Oklahoma is probably
yeah,
the biggest.
Michigan. Oh, that's where game day is.
Arizona
Yeah.
State. Okay. Michigan, Oklahoma could be good. Arizona State, Mississippi State might be a sneaky good game just to see what.
Mississippi State's
Oregon,
made of,
Oregon,
yeah.
Oklahoma State potentially. I don't know if Oklahoma State has
Yeah,
a whole ton.
They don't have
but
the firepower, especially with their quarterback out right now. I don't think that's going to be a very pretty game. For
Other than that,
the
it's
Poke
it's a pretty docile.
Illinois
they-
Duke might be sneaky good.
Maybe
Is that an 11 o'clock kick? A sleepy 11 o'clock kick.
Yeah.
Unless there's crazy things happen, yeah, they could blow out Utah State, and they'll probably
Yeah.
stake.
I mean, Florida
They are.
State, East Texas A&M
What-
up there.
Woo.
Yeah.
Could there be a hangover game for them? And boys from Commerce can play football.
There
Hey,
you go.
UTSA Texas State is this week.
Yes.
So you're talking about good.
That's
in-state-
a good game. Is that
Yeah.
one on TV? Please tell me that's not ESPN Plus. We got to find out. Yeah, go to the so you can do American
the
Conference.
American.
Texas State, the Pac-12 team of the future.
ESPN
Oh,
Plus,
it's on the
2:30.
Plus. Boo.
Man,
Yeah.
that's a bummer.
Is that in the Alamo? Yeah, that's in the Alamo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
remember they
gonna
opened
be-
Yeah,
up
that's
the
the
second
one.
half.
Yeah, it's a big
So,
deal.
Uh-huh.
Opened pulled back the curtain.
Well,
Game.
I will watch for highlights because I bet that'll be a chippy game. For
I think
sure.
it will
Yeah.
very much be
I
a
love.
chippy game.
I'm calling it the mini Lone Star Showdown.
I like
It's
it.
awesome.
Yeah. So what do we think for this Utah State game? The latest spread that we have on this one is
Was it like 25.5 or something like that?
It's 31.5
31.5.
now.
Oh wow,
Um,
that has changed.
Does A&M cover?
I think so. I think we hang 50, not that I would be disappointed if we didn't, but I would like for us to score 50 points.
Yes, I thought they would not cover against UTSA. They did not. I do think they cover against Utah State. I'm thinking 48-10.
Yeah, I think they cover as well. What is the thing that you want to see the most? What is the thing out of A&M since there isn't going to necessarily be a close game?
Yeah.
What is the thing you want to see them work on, improve, showcase again before going into Notre Dame next week?
I think number one, and then there's a pretty big drop off after that, is I just want to see some sort of improvement in the running game. Like obviously I think we're going to get our TFLs and things like that, but on the plays where maybe there's a little bit of a mismatch or a misfit or like a good cut from the running back, I want that to be a 7-yard gain and not a 75-yard gain, right? So I want to see a little bit of improvement there. And some continued special team success would be good, but I want to reestablish the running game, the continued explosivity. All of those things would be nice. But yeah, I didn't get to go to the game last week, so I'm just kind of I'm going this week, and I'm just excited to see some Aggie football.
Do we have a forecast?
Right
for
now,
this?
it looks very hot and stagnant in there.
Love
It
that.
is going to be real. Like depending on when you're listening to this. Wednesday night into Thursday is going to be beautiful, and then it's just going to be really, really hot and humid all the way into the weekend. There's some tropics stuff that we're watching. I think that's going to bring us rain at the end of the weekend, but right now Saturday looks pretty good. Last week y'all had a little bit of a breeze, and it was kind of nice for a large portion of the game. That ain't going to happen this week. It is going to be quite still, and it is going to be very hot. So
Saturday was probably my most pleasant season opener that I've
Yeah.
had since I've been here.
Yeah.
There were times where it got a little muggy and I was a little sweaty, but yeah, that breeze came in and I was just like, this is
not
the
so
first
bad.
game of this is August 30th. This
Yeah.
is the first game of the
And
season. It
almost
felt
always,
great.
if you get a pleasant opening day, which doesn't happen a lot, the next week is going to be
Brutal.
and that
Yeah.
is
Balmy.
exactly what this week is going to be.
11:45 kick. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, what do you want to see?
Kind of echoing off Max, you talked about the run defense. Yeah, the run game. I want to see Le'Veon Moss, his progression coming back from injury. Does he see more comfortable? Do they get the run game going early? Are they able to kind of sustain drives on the ground? We already saw what those new receivers are able to do. I want to see the run game.
Yeah, run defense for me. Like I said earlier, I want to see them be able to kind of just really not have communication issues, scheming issues be a reason why big explosive plays are made on the ground, because this is going to be if there's going to be any test that Utah State provides A&M, it's going to be in the run game and stopping the run game. So I think that's not only a key to the game, but a key to A&M moving forward, because this is actually kind of a good scout for Notre Dame the next week for just kind of how the offense is going to be built. So yeah, I think that's it. We don't need to do a score prediction because we all think they're going to cover, so it's going to be pretty huge. Let's move on to around the SEC, where we look around the footprint of the SEC to find some kind of fun or wild or wacky story and go off that a little bit. This week, coming out of Orlando, it is a little bit more of a serious issue. Instagram blocks
a little bit
a News 6 meteorologist from posting hurricane updates, talking about how Meta, the organization, is a meteorologist out there in Orlando, was providing hurricane updates, and Meta, the parent company of Instagram, was taking them down, saying that they were misinformation, and they have had to fight for a while to get that back online, and so but more importantly, this is what I want to know. We actually have a meteorologist sitting right here who does do social media a lot. What, Tyler, what of Max's posts would you like to see banned?
I have an answer for this too.
I heard a story recently that Max was posting something on Facebook, and it was a selfie. And he turns to his coworker Berkeley and goes, "Just posted my thirst trap."
No one needs
anything.
No one needs that.
Banning thirst trap from Max's vocabulary.
Okay.
First off, that's number one. And number two, posting anything that you deem a thirst trap, that should 100% be banned.
Okay. So my answer is the same thing. I don't actually consider them thirst traps. For the record, I have said that as a joke, and I've said it ironically. But until
you might have made Berkeley kind of queasy a little bit in the side.
Until the algorithm stops rewarding me for selfies, I'm not going to stop posting them. If one day I post a selfie,
it's the algorithm.
Yes, because if one day I post a selfie and it gets less than 100 likes, I will. What is this one? Oh, that's not a thirst trap. That was just me.
I don't know.
That was me in the mountains.
Are there some gooders right there?
Those are gooders. And my A&M hat that I was sporting in Colorado all weekend, and the amount of Texas flags and even A&M flags in Colorado is pretty insane. There's so many Texas transplants in Colorado.
There we go.
There's another one. Until they stop getting really good engagement, I'm not going to stop posting them. Like if my numbers are not doing great one week, that's usually why I'm posting them. So if you see them on Facebook and you hate them, don't interact with them.
You're just looking for excuses to put his face on.
It is a delicate art of trying to get noticed on social media, and I am not above posting a selfie every now and then.
I do enjoy, our weather team here at KBTX is very good at the socials.
Yeah.
Not mostly just talking about Kaylee and Burke and Cassidy.
Right. That's fine.
But I do enjoy when they make fun of Max.
Yeah,
that's good content.
That is great content.
Yeah, happy to do that too. What would you ban me from, Travis?
Well, I think I'll start off with what I want more of, and that is your conquer the week, conquer your Friday post of the kiddos.
Yes, I know.
The kiddos are good. That's what we need more. I think actually we just need less of you and more of the kiddos.
Right. I try to balance that as well as I can with it being a story, so not a permanent post, and B, like kind of on the close friends feed, but I have been slacking recently. I'm just blaming them though because I've been so tired. I've been so sleepy.
It's not social media. And actually, I'm going to praise you for this, but you have cut down on the amount of mid fourth quarter, the sky is falling texts to us and it's not that I don't enjoy those, because I do actually to laugh and tease with you, but usually it's right in the middle of when we were at our busiest during the game coverage. So I am proud of you.
Okay, but it's been one game. It's been one
that's
game.
Fair. That's
a long
the
season.
has just
wait till
started.
Notre Dame.
Yeah. But even at the end of last season.
Now, Notre Dame.
Even at the end of last season.
Yeah.
You were-
Well, thank you. It's something I'm working on. It
Uh-huh.
really is. Just to do that less. But I happen to think, and we'll talk much more about this next week, especially having lost to Miami, I'm a little more like, oh, this could be it. And if y'all look back at my predictions, one of my only 2 losses was Notre Dame, and still I'm not like chalking this up as a loss already, anything like that, but I am still at least right now mental state, I'm approaching this with very reasonable expectations. So I don't, at least right now, I don't foresee myself going overboard in either direction. I think especially since they already got the loss, if we beat them, well, that's their second loss now, so maybe they're not that great. And then if we lose to them, I was kind of expecting that. So that's where I'm sitting with that. Hopefully, I'm sure a week from now it'll be different.
We will have so much time to talk about that. Until then, as you see the message on the screen here, just be sure to block your local meteorologist on social media.
Please do.
But also...
And then go to C&J Barbecue and eat some food.
There you go. And also come back here next week because we'll talk a little bit more about that Notre Dame game and recap what happened against Utah State. Be sure to check KBTX.com, get the KBTX Sports app for that. You're definitely going to want to download the KBTX Weather app this week so you know what's going to be going on for that game time, and check out these guys on all the broadcasts this week leading up to that Utah State game. Also, Aggie Game Day.
Yep.
Saturday morning.
10 a.m.
Tune in. We'll be setting the stage for that game as well. So, for Max Crawford and Tyler Shaw, I'm Travis Brown. This is the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast. We'll see you next week.